Hey everyone, this is Rich on Plant-Based Coaches Podcast. I just want to remind everyone to subscribe. Hoping to get to 1,000 soon, and we really appreciate the help. I'm joined here today by
Absolutely.
Dr. Suzanne Fox,
Hey,
and we're
everybody.
and we're joined by our colleague and friend DJ Rob Lee. We're
Yes.
honored to have you as our guest because I know you wanted to talk about depression, whole food plant-based, and how it's helped for you. So, Rob, can you take us back to when you started noticing some depression and symptoms and how you
Well,
found this diet?
I've had depression pretty much. It runs in my family, and I've been born with it pretty much most of my life, as far as I can remember. I know in school it was a big issue for me and stuff. Um, had, even been hospitalized several times, and I know it affects so many people.
It
Does.
But
does.
then in 2013, when I went whole food plant based, um, I can't say definitively that it was only the plants that helped, but all I know is after I switched to a whole food plant based diet, I started feeling a lot better. My mood improved. Now,
Wow.
whether it was due to, partially to the medication, but I'm convinced, I'm sure that it played definitely played a role.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, I know the
depression.
science behind that. The science behind that is that your gut microbiome improved and the vagus nerve runs directly down into your gut. So your vagus nerve and your brain are in a constant conversation with each other all day, every day. So the extra fiber, it filled up your gut with microbiome with enough happy bacteria because the bacteria, the feel good chemical that's called what is it called? Serotonin.
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 That's
Yeah,
made in your gut and that travels
Yeah.
up the vagus nerve and into your brain. So the more you make, 90% of it's made in your gut. So that's probably partially what happens.
I'm
Well, and
sure.
I
I'm
know
sure.
Dr. Fuhrman is a big believer, or well, not believer, he's done the research, and it these plants do affect your mood. There's
Oh,
no question
yes.
Oh,
about it in the
sure. Sure they
research
do.
and the studies. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know what you mean when you say depression runs in the family. My dad has had it, and my sister suffered from an eating disorder. That's a separate conversation, but she had severe depression.
Mm,
And it's just something that seems like when somebody has it, it's lifelong unless they can,
Yeah.
find something that helps them. Like maybe if, I always wonder if the plant-based diet would have helped my sister.
yeah.
I'll never know.
But
But
she won't switch though. I'm
well,
I'm
no,
guessing.
I mean she's not alive.
Oh, that
It's,
I'm so
yeah.
sorry.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah. But
Um, but one thing that for anybody that is watching this that can relate, I got to a point where I thought of ending it all too. So it's if you're watching this, just know that if you change your diet, it could very well help you in addition to possibly a medication. Um, we're not giving medical advice, but it's just something to definitely consider because
how
it
long do
helped
you
me.
how long do you think it took you to start to feel better from where you were?
I'd say within a matter of a week or so. I
That's
mean,
great.
it was pretty fast, about as fast as you guys know, um, that you start seeing other effects when you switch to a whole food plant based diet, like energy, better clarity, um, those kinds of things, starting to have weight loss and so on. So, yeah.
So were
Wow.
you on meds even as a teen, or when did that start?
Yeah,
Or
best I can remember, I've been on meds for, most of my life, and probably in my teens. But as most people are aware of, it's a trial and error.
Mhm.
So you try one medication, it don't work, then they got to put you on another one, and it's very frustrating. But
Oh, it is.
luckily now, with a whole food plant based diet, as a coach with plant based coaches, and taking a medication, my mood is really good, and I have no issues at all. But yeah,
That's great to hear.
it's very impactful. That's for sure.
Yeah, I know what you mean about multiple meds because they don't work. They stop working. My sister was on Prozac and then she went on Zoloft and all these other brands and nothing ever took.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And then sometimes they'll combine a medication. If one's not working,
yep,
then they'll add another one. Like for instance, I'm on either two or three different ones, and like I said, but I've got a really good psychiatrist that was really understanding, and he even endorses a whole food plant-based diet, you
nice,
know,
nice.
and that was really nice because I could talk to him. I'm like, oh, I'm eating a lot of plants, I'm eating this, and whatever. And he's like, that's great, and stuff like that. So it's hard
Yeah.
to find them.
Well, and also I think it's really important to clarify the types of depression, because the type of depression that we're discussing here today is the kind that just doesn't really have any cause. Like some people can be
Exactly.
depressed
Correct.
because like somebody died or they've had a serious
Right.
loss. And under those circumstances, it's very normal to be depressed while you go through the
Sure,
stages
sure.
of grief. But once those stages of grief have been, you never go get over it per se, but it's just if it's prolonged and there's no real reason for it, that's when they start, thinking that you might have a serious problem with depression. That's not from something that happened in your life, but just from just your biology and your
Yeah.
genetics.
Yeah.
My parents
And
both
but
take depression medication, so I totally understand that whole thing.
yeah.
It's very serious. Yeah.
It
And
is.
like
It
Dr.
is.
Fuhrman mentions, those certain foods, processed foods, can trigger, can impact and cause some of the depression
I'm
as
glad you
well.
brought that
So
up. Yeah, it absolutely can.
that's
Yeah.
another thing. But I can tell you that, relating to what you said, Suzanne, I I remember a time when everything was going great in my life. But to give you an idea how um, this type of depression, which they call clinical or major depression,
Yeah.
affects you. I had everything going, and yet I thought to myself, even if I had $1 million, I would not be happy right now.
Yeah.
And I knew that, and the worst feeling for people who are struggling is when you get to a point where, and I've been there several times, when you don't think there's a way out, that's when it really gets serious and you need to go for professional help,
Yeah.
or before
Yeah.
that, because I had been there. And the thing I can tell you is, don't ever give up. Don't ever give up, because I can seriously tell you that I was to that point when I was an inpatient. And I had been there for probably 3 weeks, 2 weeks. And I felt that way. And I felt that there's nothing that will ever change. But by God, it did,
Yeah.
So you come through it, and, so
And,
yeah, just don't ever give up.
and it must be frustrating because I know some people just think that it's something you can snap out of. I'm sure you probably heard that.
Oh yeah. Pull
For
yourself up
sure.
by your
Yeah.
bootstraps and
No.
all that
Yeah.
nonsense that doesn't work. That's really
Yeah, I
terrible.
wish it was that easy.
Mhm.
But we're
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be
like you guys.
wonderful? Yeah.
Yeah.
If my sister's late husband used to always say that the problems that you can't solve with money are the actual problems. Everything else is just, you got to get some more money together and you'll be fine. But if you can't
Great
solve it with
point.
money, then that's a real problem. And like you were saying, if someone had handed you $1 million on a platter, you were still,
It wouldn't have mattered.
it wouldn't
No,
have made you, yeah,
because I
that
was
wasn't
so
the problem.
depressed that it wouldn't have changed one thing. It's like you're in
That's not the
this
problem. Yeah, that wasn't the
fog
problem.
or haze. Yeah, it's haze, or it's just hard to explain that. But I'm sure, hopefully, anybody watching this can relate to some of this
I'm sure there's
and
many
can
people that can
benefit
relate to
a
it.
little bit. Hopefully,
Definitely.
this
Many
is
people.
helpful.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how you found Dr. Furman? Because some of our viewers probably don't know.
Yeah. So I actually found him on television, from one of his biggest broadcasts, which was the 3 Steps to Incredible Health on PBS. And it changed my life. I was like, man, this stuff it's based on research and scientific studies. And that's what got me. You hear about the keto diet, you hear about all of these crazy diets out there. They're not based on research. They're not based on studies of huge populations of people that have been
Right.
able to change and it's affected their health. So that really got me. Yeah. And that's all I needed to hear. And it was common sense. I'm like, okay, these plants get energy from the sun
Yep.
and they go through photosynthesis and they make all of these chemicals, these plant-based chemicals that protect the plant from the environment, from sun, from insects, from other, animals.
Yep.
And when we ingest them, they protect our body the same way. So it
Exactly.
made sense.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
It
And
is
and you,
amazing.
and you lost some weight, I know, with this diet.
Oh
How
yeah,
much did you lose?
after eating a whole pizza every night and 2 donuts, and I had to have the bag of chips because it all goes together, and the
Yeah,
soda to wash it down. I literally did that, you guys, for
I
a
know how it
year,
is. Yeah.
every night, and I went to bed after I got home from the club. And yeah, I gained 60 pounds in just over a year. But
Wow.
then when I switched to a whole food plant-based diet after seeing Joe Fuhrman's video, I was able to lose that 60 pounds again in about a year
Yeah,
with
it falls right
not
off.
much exercise. So it was
Yep.
it was mainly diet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have an
It's
exercise routine now, or?
Um, I work so much
Yeah,
and
you're
we're
busy.
so busy now with plant-based coaches that it's no excuse, but I try to get in some exercise. I do like biking, so I'll
That's
do
good.
that.
Yep.
Walking, sometimes I try to
When you can
incorporate
get
it.
it in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's
What were
so
you saying,
important.
Suzanne?
I was saying that, the exercise they've shown that can work on people with mild to moderate depression. Exercise
Correct.
can work just as well as many of the medications.
Yes, that is true. Yep,
Mhm.
yep.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to consider for people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Definitely. I'd like to
that's a
tell our
real.
listeners that, if anybody has family members dealing with depression, seek out Rob's assistance if they're interested in transitioning to a plant-based diet. He, he's been there, so he could really help with, somebody who's dealing with those problems.
I can relate, and
It's
I'll
it's almost,
understand
is there nothing these
exactly what
plants
you're dealing
can't
with.
do? Is there nothing these plants can't do? It's just
Exactly.
Well,
amazing. It's amazing because that's a very serious condition. And I personally have lost friends to they
Oh,
gave
I have
up.
too.
They
Yeah,
gave
I
up.
have
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
yeah.
it's that
Yeah.
common. I mean, everybody knows somebody
And the
probably.
thing is they look totally normal. They look like everything's
Oh
going
yeah.
well, and then just bang, they're gone, just like that. It's incredible. And it's because, like you said, please don't give up. Reach out. There are people who want to help you. There,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
Rob
Absolutely.
just
certainly has the
when you
experience.
think that nothing will change over, I mean, it does. It does change. Like I say, nobody could have convinced me that things were going to change. And I had been through this several times, and I've experienced that. But somehow you will pull out of it, guys. That's the thing. Whether it's
Yeah.
the medication, plants, your whole food plant-based diet, all working together, a psychiatrist, counseling, seek out those things. But you will get through this.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
It's
I also
amazing.
wanted to talk about your parents because I know you're helping them transition, and just a shout out because I think you said your mom is reversing some health conditions, and um,
Yeah, well, since I talked to you guys, a whole week ago or so,
yeah,
um, my mom has kind of okay. So what's happened is I'm working so much that I've not been able to mentor and coach her the way I'd really like to, and they live about 20 miles away from me, so I can't just go over there anytime I want. But So she's kind of fallen off the bandwagon
Oh,
for
no.
being totally whole food plant based. But the good news is, I called her yesterday morning. She says, we're eating breakfast. I said, so Mom, what are you having? She says, well, me and Dad are having a grapefruit and we're having a little bit of cereal, or no, a little bit of milk. And I said, dairy milk? She says, yeah, but it's just a small amount,
Oh,
which is not good. I said,
no.
Mom, if you can only give that up. She goes, it's just a small amount. And then I think they had some other fruit. And so that is total. Oh, she said, we were going to fry eggs, but after I've talked to them so many times and they know the danger of eating fried foods,
Yeah, and
she says,
eggs
we
especially.
didn't do that. Oh, and by the way, my parents also threw out their microwave after I've been coaching them. My
Oh,
dad
wow.
just one day just threw it out. They got rid of it
Nice.
because he
Nice.
feels too that the radiation from
Well,
a
I have to
microwave
I have to
radiating
admit,
food is
guys,
not
I
good.
do use a microwave and I'll continue to use it. The science just isn't there for me. I understand it's a choice, but I
Mm-hmm,
definitely continue to use the
mm-hmm.
microwave on a daily basis. So,
And
yeah.
I admit, I still do too. My thoughts are about the same. I'm not convinced, but I think it's a definitely a possibility and maybe even
Michael
probable.
Greger, remember Dr. Michael Greger did the
Of
research
course.
on it. He has had several videos about it. So
Yeah.
his videos have reassured me that it's probably
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
It's
actually
something to
haven't
think
seen
about.
those
Yeah.
from Dr.
Yeah.
Gray.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
still watch them.
But still, I mean, that's awesome that they listen to you.
It is
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I
Yeah.
have so many
Yeah. And
relatives
I
I would
didn't
love for them to just
I
give
didn't
this a
tell
try.
them, they
Yep.
just I said I just called, I was talking to them and Mom goes, yeah, Dad threw out the microwave. And so yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny. That's amazing.
Now, did they both
Yeah. So
have
you're
They're
depression
really
too?
trying
amazing.
it. What's that?
Did they both have depression too? 'Cause I know you said it runs in the
Yes.
family. Yeah.
My dad mainly has
Hmm.
been through it several times. My whole family.
Yeah.
Um, except for my youngest sister Kim. She hasn't had a problem, bless her. But my other two sisters, one I lost also 6 years ago to bladder cancer, which I know could have been prevented through a whole food plant based diet.
Most likely.
Yeah.
She never, unfortunately, love you back, but I never seen her eating vegetables. Never,
Wow. Wow.
never, ever. And
Yep.
she got a bladder infection. Oh, she kept having bladder infections over and over and over. And she never drank water. I never seen my sister drink water.
Wow.
And it's so anyway, it could have been prevented as far as I'm convinced.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
that stuff happens. So, but
Yeah.
yeah. So she had depression. My middle sister has dealt with it, and then, like I said, and my oldest sister. So the only one that didn't is my youngest sister.
I'm sure she's thrilled that she escaped it. The younger
Yeah,
sister.
she's
Yeah.
doing
And
she's
just out
doing
of
really good.
curiosity, I'm just curious, was your younger sister, was she fed differently or anything when you guys were babies? Like, was she breastfed as opposed to you guys being bottle fed or anything like that? Just out of
You
curiosity.
know, I was talking to my mom about this the other day because I asked her. I
Mhm.
said, "Mom, was I breastfed?" Because we know
Yeah,
the
it's a big
research
deal. Yeah.
shows it's so much better.
Hmm.
And so anyway, being I don't think we were as kids, but she
What
was
about
the
Kim?
first one. She was the first one out of us kids, so she
And Kim,
might
the
have.
youngest one,
Yeah,
the one that
but
did
that's
not have the problem. Yeah.
exactly.
Because my little brother's the same way. Like all the rest of us have like familial high cholesterol. And yeah, I've talked to the various plant-based doctors about it. And my baby brother, his cholesterol is completely normal without any medication and no change in diet. And he's the only one of us that was breastfed. It's just interesting to
Interesting.
note. So I
Yeah.
asked
I,
Dr. T. Colin Campbell about that one time. I was just, somehow I got him in a position where I could ask him the question. And he said there's a correlation, that there's research supporting that. So that's pretty
definitely.
amazing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
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 Um, Yeah, so now that you bring that up, you guys, I'll have to ask my sister.
I'll have to ask your mom. Yeah, she's the one who knows, right?
Or
Yeah.
ask my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My sister would know.
Your sister won't remember.
She might not remember that.
He
I
has
don't
smooth
know.
brain at that time. It wasn't coming through yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So one question I always love to ask the guests: what is your typical diet like during the day? Starting with breakfast.
Okay, so I do a lot of fasting. I do intermittent fasting. For those of you who are not familiar with that, it's going an extended period of time without eating, which allows your body to digest food more properly and also detoxify. So it's one of the best things that has been shown to extend life and to reduce the risk of chronic diseases and life-threatening diseases. So I practice that on a daily basis. And honestly, though, because I'm whole food plant-based and I stick to a nutritarian diet, which I know you do, Rich, also.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Suzanne. If I don't, we never.
I'm more of a McDougler. Yeah, I'm more of a McDougler
McDougal.
mixed with
Okay.
the Ita. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of
But
vegetables and fruit,
anyway,
but a lot of starch too. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, I honestly don't get hungry throughout the
Yeah.
day. I wake up
I
in the
know.
morning, I'm not hungry. So, what we've been told is only eat when you're hungry. And so I'll go usually I'll go till about 4, 5, between 4 and 6, which
Wow.
without
I don't
eating.
go
And
that
again,
long.
I'm not hungry. But
Yeah.
sometimes, and you can probably relate, Rich, but
Yeah.
sometimes I am about maybe noon or 1 o'clock, and then I'll have some fruits, and veggies, fresh veggies. I eat a lot of raw foods, and I don't
Yeah.
cook a whole lot.
Yeah.
So that's mainly what I consume. Yeah.
You basically
And
have the
like I said,
G-bombs.
I know in one of our other videos, I mentioned I really want to move my fasting window so that I'm eating earlier. So I eat within probably a 3 or 4 hour window between, let's say, 3 or 4 in the afternoon till 6 or 7. But I'd like to be done by 6 o'clock because
You
that's
know,
what's best.
I'm glad you brought that up because I have that same problem, and one of my clients has the same problem. And I just told
What
him
same problem are you guys talking about? Is that like not
Well,
being
so
hungry in
many
the
people
morning?
eating
do.
later at night.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Yeah.
He is fasting as well. He's doing amazing. I told him that nobody's perfect, and you just got to work toward it. But yeah,
Exactly.
that's something I'm working toward as well.
I think so many of us, almost everybody is,
Yeah, there's
even
always
Dr.
some little
Furman
thing
has
that's off
mentioned
with
that
all of us.
sometimes
But
the
yeah,
food tastes so good
yeah,
that it's hard for him not to overeat. And I was like, this is Dr. Furman. This is one who's teaching us, and he still has issues sometime with that.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Robert
So I
Chief
thought that
told
was
me, he didn't
interesting.
tell me which doctors they were, but he was on a cruise once, and some of the famous plant-based doctors were eating vegan junk food at midnight on the cruise.
I heard about
So
that.
even them, they do it too.
Well, not
We're all
perfect.
perfect.
It's supposed to
Yeah.
be 95%, 95% doing it right. If you're doing it like that, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Plus, I
That's
always
what
like
you
what
learn
Dr.
today.
Goldner said. Basically, as long as you're eating a lot of greens and everything, you can be imperfect as long as your body already healed from whatever disease you had. So if you're
Yeah.
90% whole food plant-based, I think you're going to retain the health benefits. Ideally, it's
I
best to be
Correct.
100% if you can get
Of
there.
course.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
and
you'd have to lock us in cages to do that. I mean, we'd have to be on a locked ward with stuff being, because it's just everywhere. The stuff is pervasive, it's
It
everywhere.
is. It is.
Mhm.
But I don't get
but
tempted.
that
You don't
said,
either,
it
Rob,
is
right?
so much better to be 100% if you can. I know you are, Rich,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
because
pretty good.
most of us have ate a standard diet that is full with animal products and processed foods, oil, salt, and sugar nearly half of our lives or even more.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
we've got to try to do the best we can so we kind of counteract that and we don't have health issues. So that's
And
one
that,
thing I always try to
that's
keep in mind.
that's important to keep in mind because famous people have gotten cancer, like Chef AJ, and
Yeah,
she is very strict with her diet. But this is something that happened years before she went on this
right.
diet.
You have to think about Chef AJ though. Her brother passed away from cancer 10 years before she, like whatever age she is right now, her brother had already passed away from cancer by the time he was as old as she is right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's probably a really good genetic component there as well. And she's already given herself 10 plus more years just because of the way that she eats so carefully.
true,
Sure.
true.
But you're right, she probably was exposed to a lot of toxins early in her environment, before she
Yeah,
switched to a whole food
and it
plant-based
takes like
diet that
20
have really
years, I
affected her.
think, for cancer to show up even in an X-ray. So
Yeah,
that's why,
yeah,
unfortunately, I mean, the sooner you change, the better. That's what I tell people. Because
yeah.
Yeah. And we're here to help you. That's what we do.
That's
And
right.
we're
exactly,
passionate about it. We're knowledgeable, and we're here to help you. Because we've lived it.
yep,
So we know what it does, and the research shows it, and
exactly.
the studies.
Absolutely.
And we have a discount code for anybody who's watching this. You can get $50 off. It's going to be Coaches 2025. Just put in
Awesome.
Coaches 2025 at checkout, and you'll
On
get
our website.
an even better deal because I don't think there's a better deal around. We we want it to be accessible to people, and I know our
Right.
clients
So
really
we can help
appreciate
as
that.
many people as we can. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
the
Yeah, that's one
website
thing.
is www.plantbasedcoaches.net, and you use what did you say, coaches? What
Coaches
was the coupon code?
2025.
Coaches 2025 is the coupon code to get $50 off
Yep.
a 2-month
Right.
training session. Yeah.
And
And
we'll be
one
glad
thing
to
I just
help
want
you.
to say is that our coaching prices are very affordable, very affordable. We want that way so we can help more people. So most people can change their life and can
Yeah,
benefit,
exactly.
So
I mean, just think if somebody's addicted to, say, donuts and they buy donuts every day. I mean, 2 months of worth of donuts, I'm sure, is way more money than what we're charging.
Yeah, we did the math on it. It's about $4 a day to follow our program and do our
right,
program.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
$4 a day to change your life.
yep.
it's well worth it.
Definitely, definitely.
The best thing I ever did, I can honestly say, it's the changes are pretty incredible.
Yeah.
That the feel, how you feel, more energy, more alertness. I mean, I swear, my reflexes are just as good or better than they were in high school. I play basketball. I'm able to keep up to
Yeah,
kids half of
yep.
my age on the basketball and full court. There's no way I could have done it. I remember when I was in school, we had to run a mile in gym class. I felt like I was going to die,
Oh my God,
literally,
I
when I
was
was
like that
done.
too, when I was a
And
kid.
I can
Yeah.
run 8, 9 miles, whatever, without getting so winded like that.
It's so
But
funny you should
yeah,
say that. I remember
it
the
helped.
end of the period, the bell ringing, and here I am still running 'cause I didn't finish the track, and I still couldn't relate to that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, that's a
and
pretty tough
and
one.
yeah, but yeah, everything improved after plant-based, just like Rob said, and
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. It's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
And it even helped with his depression because that's really serious. Not only
it
does it help
is
your digestion, your skin, your kidneys, it's also helping your brain, which is really important.
That's
absolutely,
right.
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah, yeah, Rob. I'm sure you wouldn't change it now. Ever go back to your old ways?
There's nothing that I, how do I say this? There's nothing that, I'm just so thankful for having this lifestyle, leading this lifestyle, and then being able to show other people and coach other people. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
there's
amazing.
no amount of money is what I was trying to get at,
Yep,
that I could give this up for an amount of money because of the way it changes your life and how you feel every day. You get out of bed instead of crashing at what I always did at 1 or 2 in the afternoon. I have sustained energy throughout the whole day. I'm able to
yep,
work all day, come home. I don't feel like I just got to sit down or take a nap or whatever. I'm like a jackrabbit, always,
I got
always
one
on
more
the go.
question
You
that I
guys,
thought of too. What is the one piece of advice you give for you? I'm sure we've all heard this. Somebody says, "Oh, this is too hard to do. I can't do it."
it's
What is the
not
one
hard,
piece of
and
advice you give them?
it's not hard, and we help you to stick to a routine. And you start out, there's two ways to start out. You could start out gradually and just by adding some foods in, taking some foods away, or you can go all in. But we help you either way,
Yep,
whichever way works best for you. And we'll do a free consultation with you, and we'll get you going and get you on a better health track, and hopefully extend your life.
Yeah.
definitely, definitely.
Then your
Were you,
healthy life for sure.
were you all the way in, or were you gradual, Rob, when you
I was
started?
gradual.
Yeah,
Well, let me think.
I know I was. Yeah,
You're
Yeah,
gradually.
I think
yeah.
I went pretty much all the way in, but I can't
Oh,
say
great.
100% maybe
Yeah,
definitively. Yeah,
yeah,
it's been a while.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. What was it now? 12 years. So you,
12,
yeah,
13 years, something like that.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
you've been doing this since 2013.
Correct. Yeah,
Do you remember which month it was?
I don't.
Because
I'm
I remember
lucky.
for me it was July 1st of 2012
Yeah, you're
when
the
I just
same year
said,
as me, Suzanne.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
just like, you know what? Today's
Okay.
the day. Today's the day.
yeah.
Today's the day. Because I'd
I
read
did
about,
that.
I'd read the books, I'd read the China study, and I'd read Eat to Live, and it was time to put it all into practice because I knew it
Yeah.
was correct. It was correct information. I could feel it in my soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went out and bought Eat
Mhm.
to Live 2 the following day, Dr. Fuhrman's book. An amazing book, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
The
life
must
changing.
have.
Life changing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I keep certain timelines in my head. Like I know I had that first physical in January 2012.
Hmm.
Saw Dr. Furman April 2012 on TV on Dr. Oz, and just different events during that first year. And even when I went fully vegan, I know the exact date, September 6th, 2016. Just certain dates that you don't want to forget.
Well, yeah, because it's so important. It changed your life. It changed your life. It's a
Exactly,
milestone. Yeah.
exactly.
So, for people who are watching, just know that the studies and the research show that animal products harm the body, and processed food harms the body. So,
Yeah.
that's where we'll help you to give up those foods, to eat up to 20,000 different whole foods that are on this planet that are edible, and we'll help you do that,
Yeah.
because heart disease is rampant, number one killer yet.
Yep.
Cancer is right behind it, which might even surpass it. Everybody has got high blood pressure, high cholesterol, whatever. But so you have to change before it's too late,
Yeah.
and it shortens your life. And
Yeah.
besides that, who wants to be in a nursing home when you're 60,
Yeah, no
70,
way.
80 years
Mm-mm.
old?
Yep.
Yeah.
50% of us will end up in a nursing home.
Oh,
So
no.
no thanks, so
Yeah, I know what a nursing home is like. 'Cause when I was a kid, I watched my mom work there. It's just the most depressing thing. These people can't move and can't
we want to
talk,
be
and they,
vibrant,
yeah,
active, and climbing trees yet. Like I seen a video on YouTube where this guy, and I don't remember which country, might have been India or something, and he's all lean and fit because they don't eat the way we do here in America.
right.
And he climbs like this 50-foot tree, just like just like a chimpanzee.
You
And he
just
Yep.
did it. You
climbs
just
it,
climbed right up.
and then he
Yep.
slides right down like
Yeah.
it's nothing. It's
Yeah.
just
Wow.
He
incredible.
does it
And
every
I
day.
always
He does
remember.
it every day, and he's been doing it every day since he was a kid, and he never stopped doing it. So he still has the ability to do it, and he's obviously eating a lot healthier than we do here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for
You've seen
sure.
that too, though? You
I've
seen that
seen the
video?
video. Yeah, I've seen one similar to it. I'm sure. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
about the exact one, but yeah, it's definitely fascinating.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is.
Rob, if you find it, I'll put the link in the video to share with others.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Or I'll share it on my Facebook page.
yeah, yeah. Either way.
The things you were talking about just recently, I just made a TikTok this morning about that, and it's getting all kinds of traction, but not in the greatest way ever. But you know, a lot of people are very angry about me saying the things that I'm saying, and I think all of us should, you know, feel free to speak freely on TikTok about these things because it's a very big platform and it's a very widespread platform, and our message is so important.
Oh, it
Yeah.
is. It is.
Absolutely. I am
Yeah.
so passionate about it. I know we all are. Because again, we know this information, we've learned it, we've
Like
been
the back of our
exposed to
hand.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, we
Hmm.
live it and we've experienced it. You know,
Hmm.
so it's undeniable.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Truly is.
Yep. All right, I gotta
I cannot
get
tell
back
you
to
how
work.
happy I am. Yeah, I cannot tell you how happy I am to hear, Rob, that you went through such a horrible challenge and that you've come out on the other side
Yeah,
with the
me too.
plants
Yeah,
and the medications, and you're doing good now. And that is so good to see and so good to know about. And I know that your story is going to help so many people.
I
definitely.
really hope it
Definitely.
does.
Yeah.
I really hope it
Oh, it
does.
will. It
That,
will. And
that's the
thanks
whole
for
point
sharing too.
of doing this
Yeah.
interview, right?
Yeah.
Really
Exactly.
appreciate you sharing
Exactly.
your story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And,
And
and
if
and I'll
you,
open up to anybody about it. I'm not
You
afraid. I
should. You
try,
should.
you
You need
know,
to open up to everybody about it because it's really important information.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah. I just wanted to show the human side to all of this because in a few weeks too, I'm going to be talking about my PTDT, which is posterior tibial tendon dysfunction. It's a mouthful.
Mhm.
But anyway, I know these people are going through all these different things, and I think it helps to know that your coach has been there. You know,
And can you imagine how much worse all of this would be if you didn't have the plant-based diet?
exactly,
Oh my God.
exactly.
Oh, for Rich. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yep,
For all of us,
yep,
every condition that we've had. I mean, I'd
yep,
basically be wheelchair bound and you would be on crutches or worse,
yep,
weighing 300 pounds. And, you know,
yep,
Well,
yep.
all of us would
I'm
be
gonna
in
be I'm gonna
really sad shape without these sweet
Exactly,
potatoes, I tell you.
I'm
exactly.
gonna be totally honest and kind of blunt because I really seriously feel this, you guys.
Yep,
As a
Mhm.
former smoker of over 20 years, I really feel that if I had not changed to this lifestyle 13 years ago, I would either have cancer or I wouldn't even be here anymore. Because you
It's
can't
quite
keep
possible.
doing it and eating the way I was eating
yep.
and
It's quite
gain the weight
possible.
and not have consequences.
Yeah,
So I'm
exactly.
just so grateful, you guys.
Yeah. Well, I
For
was already
sure.
starting to see consequences. I had hypertension and pre-diabetes, and that if I kept going, I would have been full-blown diabetic in probably
Right.
less than a year.
You know all about that.
You'd be
Yep.
injecting
After
me stuff and wearing that little CGM on your arm and maybe even an insulin pump,
Yeah, I
you
could
know?
never
yeah,
do an
yeah.
injection, so that's one reason I
You'd
changed.
have to show up at the hospital every couple hours.
Exactly.
I can't do it to myself.
Exactly.
I know, me too. I can't even. So my husband has type 2 diabetes. He won't listen to me, guys. I've tried very hard, but he won't listen to me. So therefore he does have to give himself that shot, and I can see him sweat while he does it and he doesn't like it. And
Yeah, yeah,
I keep telling him, you're taking
There's a
all
better
this
way.
stuff because you won't, but it is what it
yeah,
is. You
yeah.
you can't care more than they care.
Right.
You
Exactly. Yeah,
know,
that's a good point.
they
Yep.
have to care enough to try. And
That's
when they
so
try,
true.
we're so happy to help them because it was a challenging process, and it's a very simple concept, but it's not always easy to implement. And it's so nice to have the attention, knowing exactly what to do. It's very nice to
Exactly.
know.
Exactly.
Experience very
Right.
helpful.
For sure. For sure. All right, so yeah, I got to wrap this up. Got to get back to work, unfortunately.
No,
But
go make
remember,
that money. Let's
everybody,
do it.
the code is coaches 2025. Please sign up if you're even on the fence about thinking about it. We could help you, overcome your fears, whatever you have about this lifestyle. But it works,
Yes, definitely does. Changes. It's life changing in all good ways.
And
definitely,
check
definitely.
check out our YouTube channel too, Plant Based Coaches. And it's again plantbasedcoaches.net if you're looking for
Yeah,
us. So,
and subscribe to our channel,
Yes.
yeah,
youtube.com at
yeah,
PB Coaches. Please, we really appreciate it.
we can help more people that way.
Yep.
Yep, yep. All right. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon. And thanks, Rob, again.
Sounds good.
Yep,
You're
See you
welcome.
later.
yep.
Hey, subscribe to our YouTube. Subscribe to our
Yes,
YouTube right up
to
here.
the
Click it,
channel.
click it, click the YouTube, click it, subscribe. We
Please hit
want
that
you
and
to
help us out.
subscribe. Thank you.